just going to let it run for a while. So that's basically how you're going to be using your camera tonight. And of course, I'll be looking for orbs in the background as well. So you want to almost like take another step backwards, just so I don't want you to do it now, because there's a curve right there. I don't want you to fall. But you would normally want to try to keep that camera level, so that way we have a nice perfect view behind. All right, so everybody, most of you have the basic gist of how to use your devices, so I want to get us out of this space and get into much deeper history. Okay, again, the app is meant to try to scare you. I don't honestly think anybody's coming through saying help me, because this is their beautiful mansion. Like, they should be feeling pretty safe. There's a little white box next to the word. Do you see it? It looks like a scroll. Go ahead and tap it. You see all the words now that popped up? So you should be able to scroll through those words. How much? 14.3 on his, and you're getting a reading too. Awesome. So you have about a 15, which is actually pretty accurate with what you have going on. So it's good. Does everybody want the base readings of what these actually mean before we move on? I normally explain it at the end, but we're already getting readings, so that's good. So behind your television set, you have a bunch of wires, right? So at least most of us do. Those wires will give off about 40 to 60 milligauss. Now, Mark, your device only goes to 25, so yours would actually max out because it can't go up as high as it can. Your microwave running on high, and you're standing next to it with the door shut, is going to be about 150 to 170 milligauss. Kind of keep that in perspective. The highest reading I've ever seen on Bill's device came out of this space at 214, and that was just a few weeks ago. So again, it's a very interesting space. We never know what's actually going to pop up out of here. In the event that things are light and I don't see a whole lot of definitive clues, we will move on. We're not going to hang out in a space where nothing's going on. So let's spread out. And what were the last? I'm sorry. What were the last 2 or 3 words that you have at the top of your list? Okay. Embrace.
Yeah, what do you got? I had a 9.5.
It's good stuff.
I was trying to scare you.
Yeah, and normally we don't have to drag the temperature piece out unless we capture something in real time. So at this point, we want to estimate. Right. Yeah, we definitely want to look at it as a drop. Sure. All right, let's spread out. We can use lasers in here. Try to keep the lasers off of vehicles, please. They will set off car alarms.
Okay, so we're looking for. I don't really understand this. So what's going to happen to the lasers?
Y'all see something I need to run there and take a picture, right?
So, yeah, I don't actually know what we're looking for.
Neither.
I don't know what your camera is looking for. I know we're supposed to see if something passes through. Should we walk with it?
Yeah, let's do that, maybe.
I don't know if I'm coordinated enough to manage this.
Just created another email. Something's going to break that EMF field. It's going to go up.
I'm surprised they trust strangers enough.
Huh?
These things.
I know.
It's illegal to shine these on someone. Good thing I valued my law degree. Now I'm just gonna. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I know it's not that. I feel like even if something passed through here, I wouldn't see it. You know?
Yeah.
Like in the moment I'm too focused on making sure these are the right distance and everything. Should we go to the
Well, I thought it was supposed to pick it up on this camera
before, so
specifically.
he might be able to like help you out a little bit, and he's going to hang out with you and kind of let you know what readings are going on. Remember, you don't always want to keep them together. Try to spread them apart. There you go.
Okay. There's the big. Am I looking for something specific, or am I mainly holding it so she can?
Yeah, it's actually, you just keep them separate a little bit.
Okay.
This one is actually looking.
Alright.
Either like a movement or...
Is this like separated enough? Like, is this what we're
Maybe a little bit more.
like?
Yeah, that's good.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you won't really be able to notice it as quick as she would. You know,
Yeah.
if something passes through those lasers.
Okay. Are there different areas of the parking lot that would be like?
Better than others?
Yeah.
Not really.
Okay.
You just kind of wander around and
Okay. Alright. Seen anything in the camera, Christina?
No.
No. Should we walk back to... Should we walk to the front of the house?
Where's the front of the house?
Away from the cars, though.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
that corner. Just like slowly. Really testing how shaky my hands are.
Why is it all like... Oh. I'm just confused on why...
On what?
Like, why is that thing there?
I don't. Why is what thing?
That, like, how it's all, like, blotchy. It's like a huge white... Here, look.
Are you
see
too
it?
close to the thingy?
No, it's almost like something's on the camera lens. See that?
Yeah, like the white
Like
circle.
it's dirty or something.
Did you grab onto the camera?
I wonder if I touch the... I don't think so.
No. Maybe it wants to be a smudge. Go back to
Is the smudge still there? Yeah. Should I try to wipe it off or something? I don't want to touch it without
Is there supposed
Is this like a smudge or why is there... Do you notice how that's like all... Does the lens need to be
yeah,
cleaned?
I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm just kind of tagging along, so I don't know
Oh,
the
okay.
ins and out of everything.
Alright. Yeah, because it's been there the whole time. No matter
It's been
what
there since we got in this parking lot. I think it was there a little bit before, but I'm wondering if I got it like dirty or something. I mean, it's for sure on the camera because it doesn't change where it is.
Yeah.
I just don't. Here, let's trade.
I don't think we can trade.
Yeah, he said you could trade as long as it was in your group. Fine, forget it. No, that's fine.
No, I don't mind. Here. Alright. Dun dun dun. Ooh, let me follow you.
You not found anything?
No.
Not really. There's a smudge on the camera, we're pretty sure. We're kind of too afraid to wipe it off, but the smudge makes it kind of hard to see if there were any. There's like, what's that? No. Go that way. No, that is the direction I'm pointing. What's on the ground? Are those rocks? I don't know. There's like a dark spot. There's a dark spot right there. The lasers were. Point the lasers right here. I don't know. Come here. Like, okay.
I think we're looking for something
Do
walking
you?
through
Yeah,
it.
but do you see those black dots that?
Yeah,
But what are those?
I'm guessing they're rocks.
Oh, they are. There's 3 black rocks.
Like, they're not moving. I don't
Okay.
think they're
All right. Well, I was
moving.
looking.
There's, like, a spirituality
You're not
sitting
good
there
at
like
these
a rock.
lasers. Okay. Hold it up. You've got to separate them. Did you pay attention to my demonstration at all?
Yes, I'm
No,
separating
you're
them.
not separating. You gotta. They've gotta be closer to the ground, is what I'm saying. Well, not like that. You were okay. You just weren't as good as I was. Just wanted that known. Yeah, I don't think we've seen anything. We should ask about the smudge, though. Okay, that's not. We had a question.
Yes.
So there's this. We think we smudged the camera
I don't
or
think I
something.
did
No.
that.
Oh, so that's just
That's the lights. I'm going to wipe it down just to be certain.
okay.
Because there are 10 LEDs on that guy.
Okay.
So some of them are brighter than others. So hold it still. And I'll wipe down the lens. Just see how that circle is there? It's probably
Okay.
coming from this guy.
Oh, okay.
So that took away one. And then if we turn this guy off,
Got it.
see how it works?
Got it. Okay.
So, again, with your cameras, it's not always in real time. It's always about the review the next day. Because when something goes through these things, it's super fast. It's a matter of, can I get a still shot from it from the video?
Okay.
So, this work is important as far as part of this. But that camera, with the as far as the orbs go, has been amazing. Watch the vehicle.
Got it. Oh.
We're gonna get out of their way. Let's go to the wall, guys.
No. I'm still filming.
Kind of give you the gist of what I found on that. I'm going to pull you two over here so he can get out of the way. I want to show you, just so you know how exciting that tool is for us. Of course, that guy's got to flash his lights and ruin my cameras. So, I want you to watch coming in this way. This was like the second night we were using it. It's coming, just wait.
Oh yeah.
Do you see how, like, that's a giant orb? Like,
Yeah.
definitely not a bug, definitely not dust. Like, it's giant.
Mhm.
So, again, that's what I'm looking for when I'm watching your video, on
Okay.
top of the motion showing up through your lasers. So, again, your work is important, but just like Neal's, it's not always super fun in the field, because you might not catch it in the field.
Oh, wait,
I heard somebody say, "What'd you do?
What'd you do?
What'd you do?"
I like that. We'll take it for now. Doesn't mean anything
That's
to
all I
me yet,
can catch.
but you're hearing something. That's
Yeah.
a good thing.
That's the only thing that came out clear. What'd you do?
Stephanie, you got anything?
Yeah, we were asking about the president. I initially asked who was the president at your wedding.
Okay.
Didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I come back a minute later and I said, I'm sorry. I said, the first time I said who was the president at your wedding, I meant at your funeral, and I heard a female go ha ha ha. And I was like, are you laughing at me? I don't know. And then I didn't hear anything else after that. And then we both heard Haywood or Hayes, and then we heard someone like a male say president. I think he said I'll be president or I will be president.
Interesting. So you heard the word president.
Yeah.
So
Heard
obviously,
the word president.
as you were asking about the president,
Yes.
which is definitely some good stuff. Obviously, you're getting some kind of reaction, but at this point, you still don't have a direct answer. So let's get you guys some answers. What do you think? She's like, yeah, I'm not sure about all this crazy ghost stuff. So let's kill the videos. Let's get those started. So hit the red circle on yours top, and it's the right button right here. So go ahead and tap that pretty hard, and then we. Oops. Any names show up on your word list, Sharon? Nothing at all? So Stephanie, you're the winner now. She heard John twice. So any names come up out of yours, Cliff?
She said she heard one, but I didn't.
Sound like you said Cleo.
Sounded like you said Cliff. So if you were close to anybody recording, hopefully we caught that, because that device does not record anything. So EMFs, just so you guys know in here, we don't normally see a whole lot. So if you see anything above an 8, let me know, because we'll get up to about a 6 or 7 with the buildings in between us. This is considered a quiet area, so we're not going to be here for too long, because there's a hotel over there right behind you, and there could be somebody in those rooms. So
We're staying.
yeah, oh, is it? Staying at Lodge Alley? So you're going to get a little bit of history of the location, because now you're here.
Now it says devil.
Yeah. Say it backwards, it's lived. How about that?
There you
So
go.
we'll take that one, right? So this space, what does it used to be? This used to be one of the first streets of Charleston. Why? Because that last crosswalk we came over was where the original Charlestown walls used to be. Charleston used to be called Charlestown, the walled city. It's actually one of the very few major cities back in the early 1700s that was actually fortified with a wall. So that's where it stood. We're going to talk more about it later, but I'd like to point out we're inside the walls, and you're standing on one of the first streets we ever had. People used to live here. I have a full list of residents, every person that's ever lived here. What are the common names that I normally get here? Benjamin and John. John and Benjamin both lived here in 1801. When I say people lived here, I'm not talking like this place was littered with houses. I'm talking like 2 to 5 people at a time. So when I get Benjamin and John that both lived here in 1801, that's 2 out of 5 people that lived here during that time frame. Do I have anything significant about 1801 in this location? Nope. But I get those same names every 6 to 7 weeks. I am surprised that you heard it twice tonight on the way here. Here's why. Reason being is because that shows up on a loop. Every 6 to 7 weeks, those 2 names will pop up through spirit boxes. Doesn't matter which one. We're in week 1 of that loop. I was not expecting anything because we already passed my loop of 6 to 7 weeks. Again, I can't pinpoint an exact time frame of exactly. It's usually about 6 to 7 weeks. Here's why I think that's happening. Because this is one of the first streets that we're standing on, you're standing on cobblestone. These bricks are called Belgian blocks. They're made of granite. You've heard the term limestone before if you're into the paranormal of any way, shape, or form. Limestone is said to stir up paranormal activity because it comes straight from the earth. Now, granite also comes straight from the earth, and these particular pieces of granite have been here for a couple of 100 years. They're hanging on to the consciousness of memories and then spitting it back, replaying it on a loop over and over and over again. It's called the stone tape theory. Google it. I promise you it's a thing. So it sounds really, really weird, but this is a perfect example of the stone tape theory. They did do an archaeological dig underneath these bricks. They found some of these people's tools, hardware, their clothing, that kind of thing. They classify these people as lower class. It makes complete sense when you look at our geography. The other side of the wall that I just mentioned would have been across the street of East Bay on the opposite side of where we were walking, which means the buildings that we see down at the end of the alley wouldn't have been there. The smell of low tide would be coming through this alley quite often. The rich of Charleston are not going to put up with the smell of low tide. If you've never smelled low tide, just wait. It's a very nice treat while you're here. So, if you notice that the rich of Charleston down at the Battery actually had skinny houses in the front and they go long back, you guys all notice that? We've been walking around town. A couple of reasons for that. First off, it keeps the smell of low tide out. It puts the front porch on the side of the building. They put a door on it to keep the smell of low tide from entering the home. They open up the second story window, and that allows the cool air from the water to come in. Cool air drops, heat rises. It's old school air conditioning. The second reason they do that is because you were taxed based on how much street side you took in Charleston. So the skinnier your house, the less taxes you pay. So kind of keep that in mind. But with the Pinckney Mansion, I just showed you a picture of it where it's sat broad against the street. That's because the Pinckneys had their indigo money, and most Pinckneys were politicians, and they're outside the city walls. If they were paying taxes at all, and it was probably a lot of them, they didn't care. They wanted the bragging rights to show off their beautiful home. So we kind of keep that in perspective as well. far as this location goes, I lollygag here on purpose just because, again, this isn't a place where we can ask questions. But I will tell you that before people lived here, the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge here, hence the name Lodge Alley. We do get terms wrapped around the Freemasons from time to time. There's no definitive loop on that I can pinpoint yet. But we will get, Freemason, Mason, bricks, and I've even heard the term Illuminati more times than I can probably count. I want to say it was 6 times last year and 2 times this year. The funny thing about that is, first off, who the hell is saying the word Illuminati on the radio stations? And why am I only hearing it in this space? So again, all 8 times have been in this location. Take that for what it's worth. We did get the name John. That's definitely heard along the way here, so you will definitely see the full list of every person that's ever lived down here. It's not a lengthy list. It's only like a page and a half. So again, this way you can actually see if any of the names that we're getting are matching up. So you'll definitely have that link. The next space we're going to go to, that's where it gets a little tricky. I'm taking you to another alley. However, I cannot take you all the way through it like what we're doing now. I've been kicked out. You guys like all the blinky lights and the noisemakers and all of that stuff, and it is residential at the end. Well, I'm the guy that got caught down there where I wasn't supposed to be. So, tours are allowed to go down halfway, but it is not fair for my groups of 10 to try to investigate a space around other large groups. So if there's 20, 40, 60 people down here working with half of an alley, it's not fair to any of those people, including my teams. I still tell the story outside of the alley because it stirs up a lot of activity for the remainder of our time, because we're going to stay relatively close to that space. Because there's a lot going on around the next corner. So we will see some of those other tours. Just so you guys know, I didn't really see much as I was walking through the city to get to y'all tonight. So we'll see how many tours are out tonight. We just try to stay out of their way. We're investigating. They're telling ghost stories at the campfire and moving on. So we're going to let them do what they do, right? Stephanie doesn't know because she's never been on another ghost story before. So sorry, I'm going to keep picking on you. So again, love this space. That thing is moving super fast.
Yeah.
That's probably why you're struggling hearing anything.
Yeah.
How about now? I just noticed her numbers were like, it's normally what I do on my investigations. Like, that was way too fast for you. So, it's on speed 1. But yeah, we're going to actually have Mark lead, he's going to go out last so he can take a few pictures of the empty alley for us. We have caught orbs here in the past. As far as the EMF readers, we're definitely not going to be getting much as we're walking through this neighborhood. We're going to be cutting through a neighborhood to get to the next space, so we're going to stop both videos as we exit the alley. We're not going to record it. Kind of real low, just keep it nice and quick. Those people that are going to be walking down the alley didn't pay to be filmed. You guys paid to film other people. Where's my other camera?
So they're not down silo. Super low. They're filming advertising.
Very discreet. All right.
Advertising.
Mark, get on the execution
They
style.
got
So that's a rhythm.
people walking.
I would call that a rhythm. It's coming from the building behind you.
Space debating
So
whether
even though it's
they're
not going across,
recognizable
it's
or-
just staying on. That's definitely not a ghost.
Yeah, I'm not very around.
But yeah, 15 milligauss standing next to a building. Something's on in there that shouldn't be. I'll just tell you that. Cool. Did we hear anything along the way here now? Janine, how are we doing on yours? So you're going to get lyrics, some song lyrics, and that kind of thing. So just tell me what lyrics you hear when you get to one. So, anything come up on yours?
Bob?
Bob. Who the hell's
That
Bob?
name is like you.
I don't know. But you heard it. And
Yeah.
any crazy words coming up on yours?
No.
Okay. Stephanie, anything?
No, on the walk here when you were talking in the alleyway, I heard police.
Police. Alright, so we all talk about this alley behind me. This is Philadelphia Alley. Again, very kind of staple ghost story type place, but I mean, we're actually ghost hunting, so I tell obviously this bit of history a lot differently than the other tours because we're ghost hunting. You guys need extra clues and all the details that they don't tell. So this used to be called Jewelers Alley. This is where the jewels used to occur for the city of Charleston. So we all talk about one specific duel because it's exactly who is haunting this location, and we get a lot of clues around this gentleman, so let's get into it. There's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because his fiancée, Amanda, just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with his cash. The attorney thinks that the doctor's just after Amanda's money, so he tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. So to prove that he's not after Amanda's money, he moves to Charleston. And as he's being brought into town, there's a coachman that sets him up to be robbed and killed. It's not a very good start for him to stay in Charleston. somebody walking by. His name is Ralph Isaacs. I'm going to stop on Ralph for a moment just because Ralph has the same initials as to where the doctor came from. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. R.I. shows up here a lot, but Ralph and the doctor are the two main characters of this particular story. We need the secondary clue so we can tie it to those specific characters. So, Ralph says, dude, you don't want to stay here. He's got a gunman inside. He's going to try to kill you and take all your money. I got a friend at 59 Church Street. You can rent a room from them and you'll be safe. The doctor takes him up on the offer, and the two become friends. The doctor's practice starts to take off the more time he spends in Charleston. He's making his own money now, and lots of it, which means Amanda's moving down soon. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Every haunted city you will ever visit in the future has a cliched whistling ghost. Ours is a doctor. We're going to go with it because it works. It works every single night when we're out here. So, Ralph and the doctor go see plays together, but they cannot sit next to each other. Why? Because the doctor makes more money. They better seats. That's the way the hierarchy worked. So, talking about the play on the way home, they went to see William III from Shakespeare. The doctor thought the new actress in town was fantastic. Ralph, not so much. They start arguing. Then it gets really heated when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It's pretty ugly. They go their separate ways. Ralph is from here. He has friends in the newspaper. Puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. The doctor sees this ad and he rebuttals with, "For the Gold Galley, we're going to settle this. Somebody's going to die." That's basically what he's saying to him. So they come down, they take their 10 paces each way. The doctor turns around and points his gun in the air. He shoots. One shot. He did not want to kill his friend, which is often what happened at a duel. You show up because you had the courage and bravery to show up to the fight. You just didn't want to ruin your reputation of being a coward. However, Ralph has his one shot. Sorry, Cliff. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. The doctor doesn't die either, but Ralph proved his point that he's still pissed off. The doctor drops to the ground, but his friends pick him up. They carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later. He refused medical treatment. Probably tried to bleed it out himself. He's a doctor. Remember that. So, the ghost story part of this, they say as you walk through this alley, you can hear the whistles from the doctor. Before we got moved out of here, which means I used to take my guests down there all the time. I would tell my folks, as before we were using earbuds with the spirit boxes too, we turned on the spirit boxes, it's all about my audio that's on me at this point. You're not going to hear very loud whistles when you go down there. So I will tell you, if you're going to go down there on your own and turn on the voice recorders, keep in mind every local knows this store. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street on the other side throws a whistle down the alley. I do it every single night on my way back. I actually fooled Bill last night because we were walking back, and I do it for shits and giggles because remember, I got booted out of there. So I do it every single night just to throw off all the other doors. And it's funny, I pulled my own father-in-law. He's like, "Did you hear that?" I'm like, "That was me, dude. Calm down." So when my daughter's on the tour, because she lives in Myrtle Beach and she'll come down and she wants to come straight to the tours, we race. He's going to throw the whistle first. They also say you can hear the gunshots down there, but I don't have any proof of that. I do have very faint whistles that I cannot debunk. I will say that. So let's get into why I got kicked out, because that's the fun part, right? Mark's like, "Yeah, let's get this guy into trouble." This alley didn't always come all the way through, which means the bricks on the other side were those were sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint, fingerprint swipes in those bricks on the other side. So those bricks were basically turned every hour to bake them in the sun. The full handprint is the size of a child. As you can see, plain as day. Everybody wanted to stop, put a spirit box or an EMF mirror near it, and I would tell these folks, we got to move on, we're not going to stop, because I treat that brick the exact same way I treat a grave. That kid is not staring at that brick in the afterlife. I guarantee you that. However, one night, November 26th, 2020, yes, very specific date, that's why it's relevant, everybody stopped. Wanted to basically huddle around this brick, try to get some kind of activity. I told them we wouldn't get anything. It was outside a gentleman's dining room window. He was not happy with my team. I had 10 people out there. Come out screaming. My daughter thought it was great. His dad's getting yelled at. And we move on to the next location. November 27th that year, 2020, was Thanksgiving. I was new at this, and I'm going to finally take a holiday off. I worked in retail for over 20 years. Never knew what the hell it meant to have a holiday off. So I took a holiday off. The next day was November 28th of 2020. I got a phone call from the tourism office. I need to reroute my tour or only go down halfway like everybody else. I decided to reroute and see what happens. I did not tell my team we were going to be talking about pirates, which is up in the next corner where I'll be taking you pretty close to next. I'm not a pirates guy. I'm a vampire guy. I don't like this story. I don't believe in the story. I thought it was BS. Before I told them who we were going to be discussing, somebody on a spirit box here's the name Anne. I'm like, okay. I did not tell them we would be discussing Anne Bonny, the famous female pirate. Then we get to the space, I tell what I know, and somebody else here's the number 300. I don't know what 300 means at this time. I have to research it the next day. We were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's pirate trial was November 28th, 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. Now I keep taking you guys back every single night. It is a hit or miss location. We either get a ton of evidence or we get nothing. Anne Bonny is said to be seen all over town. You'll see why once we get there. I hate to end the tour that way, but it will be a very elaborate story. I have read more books on pirates than I ever did on vampires, and now I'm probably I could probably run just a pirate tour in Charleston if I really wanted to. But this story has a lot of holes in it, and you guys will pretty much have free reign to ask whatever you want to. The next space we're going to be going to, we're going to go around the corner to St. Philip's Church and Cemetery, kind of talk about what goes on up there. But have we heard anything, seen anything before we move on? Nothing on your end, Sharon? You're good? Janine? Anything crazy? Cliff, yours hasn't gone off?
I don't think
So, I know lasers are kind of out of the game for one more stop, and then you'll be free range again. So, let's go up and we'll see if we capture it. Let's go see what's up to the next spot. Are you leading the way now? That's awesome. I didn't know I hired you. No, I'm just giving you a hard time. Just got to get you guys some laughter going. It's supposed to be fun. I know I tell creepy, weird stories about how I get in trouble, but that's the whole fucking fun part of it. I was staring down the hallway and his radio goes off. I like that. Is very popular. I'm actually stopped right now. Let everybody catch up for a second. So, as you guys can see, like, this is a pretty popular spot. So again, I told you I just got to get everybody else's way. But I stopped here for just a second before I had you guys sit down, which is perfectly fine. I don't mind. I'm a good employer. You came here to work, I'm going to let you have a break. So, the wall behind me over this courtyard is the wall to Philadelphia Alley that we were just on. The gate is for the loser of the duel, the dead guy. It was a shortcut to get to the cemetery to my left. So, otherwise, remember that the alley didn't go all the way through. So, otherwise, they have to go all the way down to Queen Street. You guys seen the length of that alley and bring the dead weight all the way around. And that just delays them going to celebrate the winner of the fight. So, they created that doorway, put a wrought iron gate on it, which is what's there now. It stays locked all the time. But a lot of people don't know why they gate is late. So, I like to point that out. You're going to hear that on any other tour. So, I heard that you guys heard keep out. Is that on yours, Cliff? Awesome. So I did write that one down already. You guys have,
Don't wait.
don't wait and keep out. You got kind of a contradiction going on there. So anybody else have anything? I've already got stuff on yours. So go ahead and have a seat. We're going to show it here for a minute. Again, this is a space where I kind of let the evidence kind of tell me what's going on. Sharon, let me secure your device for just a minute. I want to take a look at this. Because again, sometimes things show up that I didn't talk about yet. So sand is good. That's really the only thing that's been relevant so far, and we're not even at that location yet. So normally what I do here is I have two normal go-to stories, but I kind of see what the spirit boxes are telling us, because there's literally like 15 stories all along this corner. So you guys didn't do anything relevant to those normal ghost stories, so I'm going to actually go straight into what I normally go to, which is obviously that Philadelphia Alley piece, and then I'm going to tell you why every ghost tour stops exactly where those large groups are right now. So, I'd like to point out a couple things about the cemetery first. You can smoke it, you're not going to bother me. So, with that said, the ghost tour up there is staring at St. Philip's Cemetery. There's two different sides to the cemetery. There's an eastern side, so if you're from Charleston, you can be buried on this side. Charles Pinckney and Charles Pinckney, the husband and nephew of Eliza Pinckney that we spoke of earlier, are buried over here because they're from here. The other side is for everybody else. So if you're not from here, you go across the street. Your 7th Vice President, John Calhoun, is across the street. They shuffled his sarcophagus several times, going back and forth, trying to figure out where the hell he was supposed to go. Apparently he just lived here a long time. He's not actually from here. So he's actually buried on the other side, and you can visit because the sarcophagus is above ground. So that's why they leave it open. He's a vice president. So let me tell you why they're all up there. They're staring at a sign. The sign says, "There's no ghost here but the Holy Ghost." So there's a reason for that. In 1888, a young lady died by the name of Sue Howard Hardy. We just talked about initials with Ralph. So Sue Howard Hardy's initials, SHH. It's cheesy, it's campy, but I've seen it, I've heard it for myself, and it didn't come from the muffled spirit box that Cliff is using. It's been very specific. So, she dies 6 days after her stillborn child. Very abrupt ending. I know most of my stories end in death some way, shape, or form, because that's what we're doing, right? Yeah, ghosts. So, 1987, local photographers taking pictures of all of our beautiful cemeteries. He captures an apparition in one of his photographs as he's developing them. He can't figure out what's going on with it because he doesn't have the same tech that we have. So, he turns it over to Kodak. I don't think I have to explain what Kodak is to this group. That's kind of nice. That was something right there. I don't know what it was. So Kodak doesn't know what to do with this picture either. So, the picture for guys like me is gold. However, it's cursed. Of course it is. That's why I talk about it. It's cursed to females. We have mainly females in the group tonight, so what I will say is I'm going to show you the photograph, and I'll zoom in on the apparition for you. You'll see it nice and clear. Just don't touch the tablet. Females that handle it, even on your cell phone and tablets, are said to have the same symptoms like what we talked about at the beginning. There's something else there, too. Keeps interrupting me. Whoever it is, you need to be a little bit more clear. So, but with that, wow. Well, then you need to give us your name. Whoever is here, give us your name through that box. Females that are pregnant and touching and handling this particular photograph are probably not going to have a good pregnancy based off the gist of the story. I am not going to be the guy where somebody had a great vacation and 9 months later I get a phone call that I ruined somebody's family. So again, don't touch the photograph. I will go down the list so everybody can see it, and then we'll get our mindset going on piracy. I want to definitely keep Cliff's device going. He's getting a lot of good stuff here. So, photograph. Looking at her back. This is also another instance where the baby is probably buried with the mother. Full photograph. And there's your apparition. Looking at her back. Then that baby basket next to her, pretty loud and clear too. Don't touch it. I know you're tempted. Full photo. You're looking at her back, top of her head, and then the baby basket's next to her. That is her own grave too, by the way. Shoulders, top of her head. The baby basket was really like everybody misses it until I point it out. So this is why everybody's there. It's their one show and tell. I let them have it. In the event when we're across the street, after I give you that, the history of that powder magazine over there, and we're going to spread out. If those of you with cameras want to come over and see if there's nobody here, by all means do so. Mark, that does include you if you want to get us some photographs and we try to recreate it. I also want to point out that there's a light shining right over that cemetery that's supposed to deter guys like me from taking photographs to recreate this. Our cameras actually go right through that stuff, so that includes yours. So you can come on over and get a few minutes of footage. Just don't interrupt the other tours. So let's get your mindset going on pirates before we go across the street to dive into this kick-ass female pirate. Does everybody see the burning gas lamp off in the distance? The orange light kind of flickering down there? Yes. That's the pirate house. Pirate house, well, first off, I should point out it has an anchor on the front of it, and somebody does live there. Do not go in his backyard looking for ghosts. He also gets angry, and don't ask me how I know. So again, it's one of those instances, but that's where Blackbeard's men would come off their ships. And they would have a few ladies there, and they have a place to stay. The cool thing is that they dug a tunnel underneath that pirate house, going 1 block away to Dock Street Theater. They would go there because at the time, Dock Street Theater was called Planters Hotel. It was a whorehouse, playhouse, and a hotel. The whorehouse was an attraction because we're talking about pirates. But pirates were also our first stagehands. So they would actually go over there to work, in between bartering with our locals. That tunnel was just filled in the 1990s. We are below sea level here. I don't know why it took us so long to fill it in. But there's a lot of rumors wrapped around that particular tunnel. Some say that Blackbeard buried some of his treasure there. I'm going to call BS on that because we know it's in North Carolina, right, Mark? So it's not down here in South Carolina. The other rumor is that it went all the way out past White Point Garden. That was the way that the pirates snuck into the city of Charleston. I'm going to call that one too because how are you going to hide a pirate ship in our bay to be able to sneak in by going through a tunnel 2 miles long? So just keep that in mind. I'm going to say that it went just to Dock Street Theater. So now that your mindset's already on the golden age of piracy, let's get you guys back up and working again. We're going to go across the street and start going over to the powder magazine. Yes, this will be our last stop. What do you got?
I took that in Natchez. At the oldest building in Natchez. See the orb?
What kind of phone is this?
It's an iPhone.
iPhones are known for those green dots, but you have a very specific shape right there.
Yeah.
I'd like to be able to analyze this for you. If you don't
Okay,
mind.
I would love for you to.
So yeah, you can always text me that you know I know I sent the to Cliff. But,
Okay.
yeah, you can always text that to me, and I'll take a look and see what I can find. In there.
Okay.
Just to make sure it's legit.
It was fun.
Uh-oh, you guys are flipping back and forth again. All right, let's head across the street. So you gonna hang out at the grave?
I heard someone say died of suicide. I don't know. I heard kept going up. Yeah, I said died of suicide.
Kept going. Anything else that popped up? Cliff, did you get anything else? What was it?
Gibberish.
Gibberish?
I couldn't understand.
It's a good thing I know how to spell gibberish. So, welcome to the Powder Magazine, everybody. This will be our last stop. We are actually going to be doing the full-on investigation. I told you, just like we did at the Pinky Mansion, everybody will spread out once I'm done giving you the history of this space. For those of you with cameras, you can check on St. Philip Cemetery if you'd like. You can also exit the lot and go to the front of the Powder Magazine to get us all some footage from up there or some really cool pictures. This is one of the spaces where we've been capturing a lot of orbs with your particular camera. So again, nice slow movements. We'll kind of see what goes on here. So, first off, we're going to be discussing the little tiny building on that side over there in the front. It has crosses on it. I want to point out that those are not crosses. Those are earthquake bolts. If you're not familiar with earthquake bolts, they're basically turnbuckles. So if we have another earthquake, like what we did in 1886, which we haven't, nothing of that magnitude, they say you can turn those turnbuckles and it'll straighten the building back up again. It's a great thought, but it just doesn't work. So it is what it is. The reason why I point these ones out specifically is because these are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston put in, because this is the oldest government building in South Carolina. This is the Gunpowder Magazine, finished in 1713. The walls we talked about earlier at Lodge Alley, I like to bring them up again in this location because that garage where it sits right now, that's where the wall was. It came up Cumberland Street. It went up past the Powder Magazine, started going south behind me towards the Battery. That puts the Gunpowder Magazine the furthest away from the water and locked into the corners of the wall. It's still trying to keep it safe, because if Revolutionary warships or pirate ships come ashore and shoot a cannonball like this, it's going to have a hard time getting through the 32-inch thick walls if it even makes it this far. But we're going to pretend that it does. The cannonball goes all the way through the wall and blows up the gunpowder. There's sand in the roof from the early 1700s during its construction to blow up in the air and fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder. Tell me they should have sand on your list that we got when we rounded that corner in South Phillips. So, she did get the word sand. I saw it. I knew it was coming. I knew she'd recognize the thing. So, but with that said, it's another great idea that doesn't work. We had another Powder Magazine closer to the Battery this way. It did get hit because the geography makes the peninsula much skinnier. The sand went up in the air, but the building burned to the ground. It doesn't exist anymore. This one's just never been attacked. So it did serve in 7 different wars. So, including the Civil War, that was its last servant, just so you know. It's a museum now. I'm not an advocate for this place. I just love it. It's a great little place if you're trying to get out of our heat or cold. It's a great $5 to spend for 30 to 40 minutes. So, very cool stuff in there, especially if you're in an old war artillery. It shows you all the uniforms of the places that it served. So, we're here because this building is a familiar. It's kind of like using a toy to attract a child ghost. This is the same time frame that Anne Bonny came to Charleston. We're hoping during our time here that we're here at the same time she is. So let's get into it. First off, this building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government small building, 10 years? No, not at all. I'll answer for you. Man, you're getting some terms now. That's cool. 1703 to 1713 construction. Our story begins in 1708, right smack in the middle of it. A young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormack. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. Is everybody with me so far? I know, there's a lot of weird twists in this one. You gotta follow me. The three of them are running away from his wife. How angry is she? You gotta get on a boat and leave your country to come here. So they land in Georgetown, just north of here, between us and Myrtle Beach. Dad buys a plantation, Mom dies pretty quickly. That means he has to send young Anne down here to sell anything from the plantation and to be able to keep things afloat. Now, Anne back home in Ireland was kind of a badass. They say she actually killed one of her servants when she was only like 10 or 12 years old with a knife to the belly. So again, just keep that mentality of this young lady throughout the entire story. We're going to fast forward. Building's done in 1713. Pirates are coming through town in 1715. So Anne is stoked. She's about 16, 17 years old at this time. She's going to fall in love. Guy number one, yes, I'm going to keep tally, turns out to be James Bonny. See where this is going, right? So Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They run away to Jamaica to get married. Anne Cormack becomes Anne Bonny, the most famous female pirate of the Golden Age. However, this is not the... Oh, you got something, man. Somebody's wanting to come through. This is not the Captain Jack Sparrow type character that she was hoping for when she got down there. This guy is a privateer, a spy for the British. In her eyes, he's a coward. This is not the pirate that she wanted. A few years later, she falls in love again. Guy number two. Guy number two turns out to be John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. We're going to refer to him as Jack through the rest of the story because there's too many J names for all of you to remember. It's my job. Calico Jack has his own ship. Anne wants to be part of that ship, but you can't put a girl on the crew. Girls curse pirate ships. They're bad luck. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy, I'm going to have you mute that. And I was like a damn it. Damn it. You're going to mute me?
No.
So, where was I? Oh, so he makes a deal with Anne. If you dress like a guy, you can be part of the crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. Of course, he's the captain. That's how it's going to go. Anne's okay with this cross-dressing because Dad used to hide her as a boy back home in Ireland to keep her away from his wife. So she's like, whatever, I'm a pirate, let's go. We're all adults here, let's put two and two together. Being a female in his quarters, she's eventually going to get pregnant. Can you have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew? No, you cannot. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a female. He drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby, come back later, we'll figure it out. So she goes and has the baby, but she returns with no baby. We have no idea what happens to the child. She's also dressed like a female. This makes Jack pretty angry. Everybody's going to find out he had a female on the crew. She doesn't care. And while she was away, Jack actually captured another pirate crew. They're down below deck. Anne's going to go flirting to make Jack even more mad, because that's what Anne does. Guy number three. Guy number three turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have two females dressed like guys on the same ship. This young lady's name is Mary Read. So her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers, we'll never know for certain. And the British find out where they are. They send their entire fleet of ships to take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary are the only two not drunk enough to come up and fight with their one-bullet flintlocks because they don't know how to use the cannons. So, obviously they're going to get taken by the British, and as they're being arrested, Anne looks at her beau and captain, Calico Jack, and says, "You should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." Yeah, dog is a very prominent term here. So, the judge, his name is Nicholas Laws. So if you see or hear my name, it's relative in three different ways. If it pops up in different ways, I'll show you why it's actually relevant to me, including me. But with that said, he wants to see the two men that fought back by themselves after he's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunken pirates that wouldn't come up to fight. So Anne and Mary go in front. They reveal their gender. He does not care that they're female. They're hoping to save themselves. They're still pirates, though. He's still going to hang them. We plead our bellies. It was the last thing they said to him, hoping to save themselves again, because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So it sends them both back to jail. Delays the hanging. Dad is still here in Charleston with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, guy number 4, has 4 children, and dies at the age of 84. Told you, all my stories end abruptly with death. As far as Mary Read, she died a year later in 1721 in the Jamaican jail from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. I'm sure it was pretty nasty. Now, I left out 2 questions on purpose. I'm not going to give you a plethora like what we did over there at the Pinckney Mansion, because this is an open forum. You can ask whatever the hell you want to, as long as you can hopefully get an answer out of it. The 2 things I left out that I can actually prove are the name of Calico Jack's ship and the name of Anne Bonny's parents. That's the father and the mistress. I do that purposely so you at least have something to start off with. I told you all at the beginning of this tour that people have passed out on this tour. I'm going to take 1 more minute of your time because this story is actually relevant to what I just told you. Back in September of last year, I brought a group back here about this size. The kid next to me goes white as a ghost, about as white as your shirt, dude. And he starts to drop. I have to pick him up by his armpit. His boyfriend picks him up on the other side, and we carry him over to that brick wall over there. I send the boyfriend over to go get him a bottle of water because there's vending machines across the street. He comes back, dude's feeling better. Super hooray. I then tell the story. They don't know what you guys now know. Afterwards, I send everybody out to go play with their devices, go get us some evidence. They pull me aside. We have to tell you something, Nick. What's going on? We are 2 transgender males, meaning I had 2 females dressed as males, just like Anne and Mary in the story on my tour. Take that for what it's worth. It made complete sense as to why one of them felt faint almost instantly upon entering this space. That's why I give the heated warning. Psychics normally do not make it through my tours. The Pinckney Mansion site is normally so active that they literally will drop out, like they just pass out like a wet noodle. Happens all the time. First time somebody actually passed out from one of these tours, I was in CPR class the next day. I normally have somebody that works in the medical field on the tours, so it normally helps me out, so I don't actually have to use my training of CPR. But again, I carry first aid kits and all of that stuff to make sure everybody's going to be good. So we're going to have some fun in this space. It's our last stop. Cliff's device is hopefully going to give us lots of stuff. So if anybody with a video camera wants to actually hang out near Cliff so that way we can actually get the audio piece of it because it doesn't record, that would be great. But again, I've already told everybody where we can go. We're going to end on that wall. We don't normally get EMFs here, so it's lots and lots of pictures. Just keep an eye on your device. Bill already knows, like, we're not going to get huge spikes, but if we do, that usually means something's happening on a spirit box or a camera. Cameras love to act up in this location. I'm going to go chill by the wall and have my smoke while you guys go to work. I don't know. I don't know. But I'll look into it, see if there's something there. It might be part of that 80% nothing, but we'll find out. Names and numbers are usually the best thing.
Okay. Here, also I'm gonna switch. I need some water. I can just have some water. Just like casually. Choo, choo. Yeah, the energy here definitely feels intense.
Just so you know, you can use lasers.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for her to take some water.
I
No,
Wait, what?
put your water away and so you have 2 hands.
As far as the lasers in the front lawn, if you're going to go up there, just make sure you stay on the ground. Otherwise, you're going to be in somebody's living room because those are apartments.
Got it.
So, but yeah, have some fun with it. This is
Okay.
last go-to, right?
Yeah.
See what we can prove Dad wrong. We actually caught some goats.
Is there anywhere you want to walk to?
No, not specifically.
Are you videoing?
I'm videoing, yeah.
Okay. Probably shouldn't walk right into the tree.
No. Let's see.
I just watched like 4 TikToks on Anne.
You what?
I watched like a ton of TikToks on Anne Bonny.
TikTok on it?
TikToks, yeah.
Oh,
The female pirate.
it's pretty cool.
They go through. Make myself
That orb I showed you girls earlier came from this area right here.
alright.
Alright.
You go where you want. It's your tour. You have fun. Dad's missing out.
Yes. Sit on the couch.
Oops.
Did you turn it off?
No, I don't know what happened. It like restarts every so often, I think.
Okay, well, maybe.
Oh,
flash-
yeah, that's right. He said that we can't flash up there because there's like apartments and stuff.
Where are you?
I'm right here. I seriously, I can't even be here. I feel like there's so much. Shut up.
Yeah, I had a migraine before I started. That's why I took my medication at the. So I cannot tell because literally every one of those symptoms, like migraines, cause nausea, dizziness, fatigue.
Right. Wait, does this thing have audio? Can it like hear what I'm saying?
I didn't think of that. That's right.
I don't think so. I think these are like thermal imaging. This probably looks so funny. People like sitting just going.
The lasers are fun though.
Yeah, I haven't been watching. There might be orbs that have come. I haven't been looking through the camera.
Yeah. You're not filming me like that.
You don't need to film though. The orbs don't necessarily have to come from
I
me.
know, but what am I doing if not?
I think that he just gave you that to make you feel useful.
Like, here, have fun.
Douche, douche, douche.
I know. Every time I'm doing these lasers,
Yeah.
I feel like I need to like mimic pew 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 pew. Every time
I feel like you
Aiden.
should get like a nook. And are you too? Oh, you're too young to
I'm too
remember
young.
that stuff.
No, I mean I know of it, but
Yeah.
too young to be actually. No, I just feel like anytime I have anything I categorize as a toy, gotta make the sound effects for Aiden. Pew 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 pew. It's the way I manage to make every single object a toy. Like your Aiden, it's your ghost catcher. Pew 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 pew. I'm like, yes, it is a cap, but it's also your
I called Patty to like check on him, and all of a sudden I just hear screaming, and like he's screaming bloody murder. She's like, I gotta go, he's screaming. And he goes over. He couldn't find his ghost blaster. That's what she's like. I just want to call you back and let you know that he's not hurt.
Yeah.
He's just, and I've had a talk with him about, we don't scream because we can't find our ghost blaster. And I'm like, oh, how'd that work out for you?
Yeah, but he definitely screams when he cannot find his ghost blaster. I can't wait to take Aiden on one of these. He would love this.
I don't know. What's weird is that no one has encouraged that in him. Like, no one, he just one day started, and he was like, he could barely even talk at the time. He just started saying ghost.
I know.
Like, pointing everywhere and saying ghost, and then, like,
I just
it's
like
been an
the poor
obsession for, like, 2
realtor.
years. Oh my god, yeah. Were you at that house tour?
No,
Oh.
tell me about it. Traumatized the poor realtor. Mommy, ghost.
Ghost. No, not really.
We're also like,
I haven't
it's
been
hard to
paying very good
watch.
attention, so it might be in like.
I'm also just looking at lasers. Like it's hard to know what's happening here.
Sure. I think
How about you?
something's supposed to pass through, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I think in the videos he showed us there were like orbs coming out,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
but I haven't seen anything
I'm
like
sure
that.
it would be easier to see in the film. With my own eyes, I see.
Once he investigates all of our data,
Yeah.
hopefully we'll capture,
Yeah.
I mean, playing with these is fun, so
I'm sure. Yeah.
it's fun. We haven't done this corner yet. You just keep going rogue.
How am I going rogue? I'm just.
You're not filming me. Am I a part
There.
of this team or
I'm filming you right now. There. See.
am I or am I not?
I thought I was supposed to be
part
filming the lasers,
of- Yeah, the lasers.
and I am.
Sometimes it looks like you're not.
I am.
Okay.
Every time a group comes past here.
Huh?
Every time a group comes past here, I'm just very conscious of my lasers.
They're fun. You can hardly see the red lasers.
Yeah.
Like the green ones are pretty evident, but red.
Now I hope there is audio.
New Orleans, anyone else? Salem, anyone else? Yes, New Orleans is number one. New Orleans is number one. We're number two. Savannah's number three. New Orleans is number one. We're number two. Savannah's number number five is Salem.
Why are they talking
I
about
don't
the
know.
Salem witch trial?
I don't know, he's naming off spooky places, so I don't know what the list is, but they're part of some tiered list, which I can totally get, I feel it. Not where we started, but right here is like... Once we got to that church thing.
I feel like everyone else has slowly congregated back there.
Oh, are we supposed to go back?
No, I think they've all just naturally gone back.
Oh yeah, I think we have to return this equipment, huh?
Well, yes, I don't think he lets us keep these as little
Right, I just wasn't thinking about that.
keep things.
I think I got nothing, although I wasn't really paying very good attention. So there might be something.
I feel like this tree is energy. It has life. I don't know. You ditch me.
I feel like the energy's
Face.
over there
Over there.
and back there.
Oh, my back hurts so much.
So, let's see.
What is this box?
Just heard her say that made you want to stab her. I don't know what they're talking about over there, but that ghost sounds a little
feisty.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep saying Anne Bonnie did stab the one girl, right? The one servant. I have the strange urge to hum Pirates of the Caribbean theme song. I don't know it. I don't know what more to do with this. I feel like we've exhausted our...
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think I'm doing it wrong.
I'm kind of tired. I think my lasers are done.
Wow, that time flew. I bet that buzzer was dead and like...
Where are you?
Actually, he probably passed out by
Yeah,
now.
I know. He's gotta be dead to the world right now. The way he manages to fall asleep in like 2 seconds on the couch.
Yeah.
With his head still pumped up.
I'll be like,
Sit on the ground.
hey Anne, this is me as a kid.
I too was dressed as a boy. Classic bowl haircut.
I had to find the other one. The other one was way better. The 4th grade one. This one I'm actually wearing like kind of girly clothes, the 4th grade one I like. I need to start. Sit on the ground.
Alright, everybody, we're going to head to the mall. Let's wrap this one up.
I love this picture. I know, his little finger. Looks like someone was trying to steal food from him or something. No, that would never happen.
Alright, so where's Stephanie going? Mark, do you know if she heard anything?
A couple of things. 1828.
You heard 1828?
Yeah, I heard a bunch of numbers.
Good. Hang on, let me get to that page. 1828, what else you got?
Impact of 2 teams. I heard New Year's, U24/7, Wolf, Jesse, and I heard 5979 twice, and 853.
Okay, so out of that mess, 1828, I want to say was the start of Calhoun's second vice presidency term, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be relevant, especially if we have John or the number 7 that shows up somewhere else because he was our 7th vice president. The number 59 that came out of 5979 is the address of where Dr. Ladd stayed from the Philadelphia Alice story. It was 59 Church. Did you have the word church come up on your word there by chance? No? So, again, a couple of starter clues for you to look for when I'm going through all of your data. So it's actually good stuff. You should put it all in your notes so you guys have everything. So, as far as the camera work, where did everybody go? So I know what I'm looking at tomorrow morning. We'll start with the ladies. Where did you go? Did you hang out here? Did you go to the front? The cemetery?
We did. Oh yeah, we just did this whole thing.
And that's perfectly fine too. Where did you go?
The lot, mainly.
So you stayed in the lot as well? And where did you take pictures at?
The whole lot.
Okay. Yeah, as we get closer to our obviously peak season, like that's going to be harder for my teams to go over it. That's why I say check for yourselves, and because otherwise, I'm not going to hang out and say, okay, let's get some video. Like that way we can kind of spread out a little bit. All right. So let's get you guys the answers to the 2 very simple questions that I gave you. And like I told some of you already, this has been a pretty light night of what we caught in real time. I told you I was going to be honest with you throughout the entire evening. This is light. We have a couple of pretty decent clues because we got other clues to the doctor other than the 59 that you gave us. So the 1828 is very interesting because that's a very specific year. So I'm definitely going to be diving into that with Calhoun because that was kind of his time frame. But again, this was pretty light. We'll see what I find in the morning. If this is my 40%, I have some really light starter clues to kind of go off of. It'll be really up to you or whatever else that you guys are going to discover. With this, let's see if I can bring this guy up. So the photo I'm going to show you of Ann Bonnie is one of the few you can find of her with a shirt on. The reason I bring that up is because she used to bare her breast to show the men she killed that they were just killed by a woman. So this is what Ann Bonnie actually looked like. I know it's a painting. Let's have it from time to time to make sure it's going to stay on. I also like this picture because it shows off the flintlocks. Flintlocks, I think it's actually inaccurate in this painting. I have to do a lot of research on that particular style of gun just because we're talking about dueling, we're talking about piracy times. So again, flintlocks on here should have been a duckbill if I'm not mistaken, which means it would have been much wider at the end. So again, I'm not sure that that's actually accurate. I actually have a dueling guide that I have kind of in the back pocket. The name of Ann Bonnie's parents were William Cormack and Mary Brennan. None of you were expecting a secondary Mary. That was my other word trick of the night. They do that purposely so when it does show up, you think it's Mary Reed, the companion/lover. Otherwise, if William comes up along with it, obviously she's giving us the names of both parents. So, Calico Jack, let's talk about him for a second. Because he was named Calico Jack because of the jackets that he wore. They came from the men he killed, mainly British. So they were very dapper jackets that he was wearing. So he was a very dapper, young, filthy pirate, which is why they called him Calico Jack. That was not clothing you would normally see on a sea captain. So, the name of his ship was the Kingston. Do I expect Kingston to come through a spirit box? Bless you. I do not. The word king would actually suffice here. The word king actually showed up in our word list last night when I was going through the spirit box that Stephanie's using. So again, you don't hear the term king on the radio too often, now would you? Exactly. So when we hear it, it's very, very specific. So that's what I would be looking for. Did you guys all ask any other questions that I might be able to answer about Anne Bonny? Wow, you guys really stuck to the regiment. Stuck on target. Okay, you guys are a very attentive group. I will say that. I cracked a few jokes in between just to make sure you guys were at least going to get a chuckle. You guys were on it. But you're like super attentive. Like, wow, this guy talks way too much. So, again, this was kind of light. We'll see what actually pops up in the morning, but again, you're probably going to discover more for yourselves when you're going through this now. I'm going to stop your audio at this point, and then I'll start collecting your devices. The audio actually tells me how much data you're going to get back, because I can do the math in my head pretty quickly. And then you guys can ask me a million questions while I'm collecting the devices. So, again, I think we struggled with some of the spirit boxes tonight, which is perfectly fine. Not everybody can hear those things. It's not an easy job. Bill was listening to one this morning, and he was like, wow, this is actually pretty hard. Yeah, no shit. I listen to it every morning. I know. So, but I think the attempt was obviously there. Did I have any skeptics here? I didn't think like I did. Wow, everybody here is a big, true believer. Awesome. And their dad wasn't chicken. He just doesn't like go with the ghost thing. So, kind of had that conversation already. As soon as this wants to connect, I will tell you how much time you're going to actually have. Alright, so 2 hours and 6 minutes. Obviously, I don't pay attention to time. I wait to see what the actual investigation is going to take us to. So you are definitely going to have a good 7.5 to 8.5 hours worth of data on top of all of the reading I'm going to give you. You're probably going to have about a 12 to 13 hour workday ahead of you. Yes, that's what y'all paid me for, a new job. So, again, I will go through all of your data for about 2 hours, roughly. And again, what I see is what I see. What's there, what's there. I don't make things up. If something is vague or very loosely related, I put that in your notes. So that way it's kind of a lead-in for you to discover more about that specific clue. Again, I'm still withholding information at this point, so you guys still don't know everything that I might find in the morning. I'll always give you that link. It's all about where I get my information. So I am going to take your camera first because it has its own pocket. So, nice attempt. We'll see what comes up. I know it's not the super exciting thing in real time.